What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my studio. I'm Joseph Finchum, you're you, and we're going to be finishing my butterfly today. Um, as I wrote in the thumbnail, I'd like people to give suggestions of colors to use. I see that there's only one person in there right now, so we'll have to wait and see what's going on. But yeah, how's everybody doing? What's going on? If you're there, say hi. Give me a thumbs up. I'm hoping you can hear me and everything. Hello, Melinda. Thank you for joining me. Do you have any suggestions for the color? I mean, I have my own preferences that I'm looking at doing, but I'm open to suggestions. Hi, Pat Kelly. Thank you for joining. Good. Melinda can hear me. That's great. We're just kind of waiting to see what's going on. The thumbnail for this video had 4 different suggestions that I'm kind of looking at for the colors, but like I said, I am open to suggestions. I know Lisa wanted it to be teal, but I don't know how to mix teal with Inktense. So, yeah. And we're not set up at all. We should be, but we're not. Got my water. Open the big canister. Not sure which brush I'm going to use today. This one might be good for the start. So, the blues and greens. Excellent. So yeah, waiting to get started. Is it spring where everybody else is? It finally seems to have become spring here, and that's good. I get to start my garden, and I like my garden. So my original idea was reds moving into yellow, and I'm still partial to that. I also like the green and purple, but that's because I'm a big Joker fan. Not the last Joker movie, but the long running character comic book version of it. Oh, I'm sorry, Pat. I hope better weather is in your forecast. Hello, Brent. Brent does art. Thank you for joining. Do you have a preference on the colors from the thumbnail? Was kind of hoping there'd be a few more people here to begin with, but, you know, we'll take what we can get. I'm not sponsored. You know, Melinda, you mentioned the cool blues. All of them, Pat Kelly? Okay, let me go back to what I was saying. You mentioned the cool blues, and that's always kind of bugged me because I was like a science geek growing up, and the when you're talking about light, the hotter a light gets, the bluer it gets, and the cooler it gets, the redder it gets. So warm blues and warm reds have always played little tricks in my mind and screw me up sometimes. That's okay, Nick. Never a worry. Well, because I want to make it a. Sorry, Pat Kelly said, why not? And I assume she's talking about why not all four of the different colors. And number one, because it would be harder, I think. And number two, because I want it to be a solid looking piece. If I do it that way, it's going to look, I don't know, weird to me. I already have it saved as black and white, so I could do whatever I want, redo it again. So, okay, so far our suggestions are the cool blues and greens. So, where would we do that from? Which do we put? You know what? Let me switch to the other cam so we can see what we're looking at. Should we start with the greens in here going to the blues, or the blue start with blues going into the greens? Purples and blues. Okay, we got to vote for purples and blues. Purples and blues, blues and purples. I like the idea of the blues and purples. Maybe green, blue, and purple, since those are the two suggestions we have so far. I mean, we're going to have to start this eventually, so. Blue to green. Okay. We can work with that. I'm going to start by trying to do this center part. Very light blue. And the black should be completely permanent by now. I mean, it has been sitting here for a week. Dry that off a little. Pick up a little bit of the excess. Grab a little more. Put it the other side. I'm going to start there. I want to keep it transparent at first and build it up. So, where do I want the green to start? I should work backwards, work down so that my concentrated color is up there. Or down there, I guess I should say. Get a little bit more. Let's work this way. Okay. Everybody have a good weekend? Or as good as can be expected, I guess. Should probably make this get slightly wider as it goes, since the bottom wings are bigger. Hi, Starving Artist. Thank you for joining. So, Nick, how did everything go with the dealership? Well, that's good. Buying vehicles are always a little tricky. Does that look even? Mm, almost, yeah. Getting there. Okay. Hopefully this stays magic again. I've never owned a new car, Nick, so I can't imagine what it's like going through one. Trying to get one, I mean. Okay, so from here, I'm going to go to a darker blue mixed with that light blue, just a little bit. Let's go to the palette cam so you can see what I'm doing when I'm doing it. Okay, that's not much darker, at least not immediately. Hmm. And the overlap is going to stay a little bit darker, which will give me a bit of a stripe in it, which I want. As long as it doesn't lift up too much. Nice, Nick. Gotta love it when a plan comes together. I could, Nick, but I don't want to lose that light blue. And if I go over it, it's going to make it all dark, wouldn't it? Or it'll make that darker than this. I mean, that could be a good look. I don't know. Should we test it and see? Mhm. So just like with watercolor, I always seem to have a little trouble getting the colors even. And I think I just put my pinky in it. Yep. Yep, I did. It doesn't look too bad. Hi, Phyllis. Hi, Laura. Now I'll wash over the whole thing again, like I did on the other side. I gotta remember to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. I tend to forget to do that. Oh, that's way off, isn't it? Hmm. Eh. Let's clean some of this blue out. I guess we should jump into the super light green. Or do I want to go from a dark green to a lighter green? I think that's what we're going to do. Wow. That that looks like light blue, not green. But it's definitely green on this end. Mhm. I wonder if I can. Hmm. It looks right here. I'm working with the wrong camera. There we go. That looks better. That's more. That's definitely closer to the green that I'm seeing. It definitely is coming out like a teal, Pat Kelly. I mean, the block itself looks little bit like a forest green, but that's not the way it's reading on the white paper. Or an emerald green, maybe, but definitely not. Definitely doesn't look teal in the block form anyway. I'm trying to minimize my brush strokes as I go. Okay, now I'm going to move into some of these lighter greens for the first set of like teardrop looking parts. Still have it wet, move over here. So did anyone else do the 4 hour time wasting? That was the Snyder cut. I mean, overall, it is a well, it's a movie. I wouldn't say the first version of the Justice League qualified as a movie because there was a lot that just didn't work. But the Snyder cut isn't without problems either. But at least it does tell a full story. Now I think I'm gonna add some of this, what do they call it? Lemongrass, I think is the color. Hi, Clark. Thank you for joining. Oh yeah, Brent. It definitely was. It was a more thoroughly made movie. The first one they cut out, and they made some of the things that I saw that were cut out made absolutely no sense. I mean, but there was 4 hours of it, and they only wanted a 2 hour movie, so. I mean, most of the stuff that was reshoots, you can tell are reshoots. First of all, because of fat Ben Affleck. He definitely lost some weight since the original came out. But the things that drive me crazy about it is the stuff that they get wrong that they shouldn't. Like Barry Allen being the Flash, and then at the end of the job, at the end of the movie, you know, well, it's not really a spoiler. He gets the job at the crime lab. But, you know, the original story says he was working at the crime lab when he got his powers. So how could he have his powers before he was working at the crime lab? Silly little things like that drive me nuts. I never turned off the autofocus. That's why it's going crazy. Looks a little blurry to me on the screen. Yes, Laura, that was last week's video, and it is also Inktense. And I may have to do some light trim work around some of this because this stuff dries opaque, and in certain spots, I don't know if you can see it, but like over here, you can see where the green is drying over the black. So that may need to be fixed later. Which means I'll be tracing it again, but I won't do that here now. Unless people want to watch me trace again. Okay, so I washed my brush and I shouldn't have. So I'm gonna stay with. Wow, that's word. That's too wet. And I think I'm gonna do the little spots yellow. The big spots, I mean. I just did the little spots. I'm not paying attention to what I'm saying. I do that a lot. Seriously, right, Brent? It makes no sense. Why would they screw up such a normal thing? the whole Speed Force scene with Iris, that was pretty cool though. Okay, so how am I going to do the body? Should the body be a different color? An accent color? Should it be mostly blue? What are we thinking on the body? Am I still streaming? YouTube is giving me an error. Okay, thank you, Melinda. Go with purple for the body? The whole body? I mean, I know the eyes are going to be like a grayish, because they'll end up having like a little bit of a reflected light on them. So let me... No, that's definitely not the right color. Let me wash that out of there. So I don't contaminate. At least not that much. Maybe I should put some white in there. Okay, so the eyes are going to be gray. And it's probably a little too dark. And lighten that up a little with some white. Just going to mix it right in because it'll dry opaque. Yeah, it's giving me that message that says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Is it smooth? My paper's starting to buckle. Get rid of that. Grab a new piece of paper towel. And, I'm going to switch to a thinner brush. Okay, so some purple, huh? I'm just going to mix this right up here. That's already pretty dark. You know what? Let's lighten that up a bit. Thinner equals more transparent. Okay. Let's do his little head. Little eye sockets. We'll add a little bit more depth into that in a minute. Clark Fine Art says, "What are you using for paper?" This is the Pink Pad Arches 140 hot press. Wow, that's almost black. Hopefully that'll dry much later. Lighten that up a bit. Try and get a little depth in here. Should I give it some? Should give it like a little bit of character to make it look a little bit more fuzzy. Because butterflies, I believe, are like fuzzy around this area. They have actual hair, like bees. You don't think of bees as having fuzzy hair. At least I never did. I made the green look green again, and the purple does not look purple. You can't win. You cannot win with streaming cameras. Maybe if I give it a little bit more light. No, still doesn't look purple to me. And another thing it needs that I haven't given it yet is his little mouth. There we go. Just trying to give it a little more depth. I don't know if you can even if it'll even pick that up because I'm just putting some yellow over it, kind of like a dry brushing, a little texture. Just looking for little spots that could use some touch up. Okay, now something I've never used before, the titanium white. And yes, I know, Nick. Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Oh, I didn't see that one, Laura, about the orange. That could have been interesting. I need something I can mix some of this up in. Just make sure this is clean. I don't know how much of this I'm supposed to use, how much you're supposed to mix in, how you're supposed to mix it in. Let me get a dry brush. Okay, I hope this works. A little bit more. Try and get this brush flat. I'm just gonna. There we go. And I have no idea how long that took us, so let's see. That was about an hour. Okay. Is that lined up so you guys can see it? Let's go with that purple again. Get that off nice and good. Okay. Make sure these are closed. So it's definitely not the greatest thing I've ever made, but it's pretty. I like it. But I don't know what to do with the next hour. So, any suggestions? That is the question, Pat Kelly. That is the question indeed. What is next? Thanks, Nick. I mean, because I don't even know what I'm doing next week. So, there's that. But I'm open to suggestion. A new drawing of what, Brent? I mean, that is something I could do. I'm just going to move this aside. I do have a sketchbook here. Whoop. The heck? Oh, there goes that joke. I just ruined that joke for when the time comes. I mean, I could show you some things that I started and gave up on, like this giraffe slash dragon, which, you know, I definitely never came out the way I wanted it to. I don't know enough about giraffe anatomy to do what I wanted it to be, to make it what I wanted it to be. You know, just random drawings. Halloween, I guess. That was the layout for the expressionist cityscape that I did. That's how to draw an octagon. How to draw a star. Complicated process to get it right. Any Lost fans out there? That is Cloud Strife's Buster Sword, but made out of lightsabers. You may have seen that on my Facebook or on my Instagram. This is a lightsaber in the style of District 9, the the movie where the guy turns into the alien. It's another one. Kind of hard to see the whole thing. Maybe if I... There you go. They look like a longhorn steer, huh? What is... I could do that. I could do some of the Asian stuff. That's just weird design work. Just playing with black and white. Doodles, doodles, doodles. Batman. This is plans I had made for a crossover between Iron Man and Batman. So it was an interesting concept that I never actually followed through on. the Enterprise crashing into a city. This is the idea for some architecture. This is a house designed to look like a dragon flying through the clouds. Mostly, during winter, it would look like that. And that this is supposed to be the layout of what it would look like on the inside. And the wings are giant patios with giant, like, cloth or leather or something wings that were actually the tent part of the patios. I always thought that was kind of a cool idea. Planetary solar system for a story I wrote about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe. A blank page. Um, this is a font I made for graffiti design. So, yeah. Yep, yep. That's about it for that sketchbook. Which idea, Laura? I don't know which one you're talking about because I was going too fast. The Dharma Initiative, Nick. It is a depressing movie, Starving. Definitely is. Um, the problem with the Asian landscapes is they're kind of hard to plan out. At least for me, I'm not super good at them. But it depends on the styles you're doing too. But you basically just oh we got a crybaby cat. You just kind of try and keep adding to them to make them look like mountains and such. See, I would probably do this like 3 or 4 times before I finally settled on an actual design that I liked. High caution. Yes, that should weird you out, Nick. Unless you were like a super fan of the show like I was, who wasn't disappointed with the ending because I understand the ending. A lot of people did not understand that ending. Is it sort of what people thought it was? A little bit. But most people got it completely wrong. It's a sharpened. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna have to let a friend in. Come on in, buddy. Oh, come on in. Watch out. Watch the wheels. So I have two friends in here today. I have Freckles and this is Ebony. Ebony, look at the camera. Can't even see your eyes. This is Ebony. Where's Freckles? Freckles is right here. How you doing, buddy? What's up? You want to draw with me? You want to draw with me? Watch out. What? You got allergies? You got some allergies, huh? uh, what are you doing? You know, and you just scribble things in where you want them, where you need them. This is how I would plan one, not how I would do one, obviously. Your, your trees and your plants, they come out of cracks in the rock face. So you just gotta know where to put them. They are not fur babies. I do not use that word. I don't like it. It drives me nuts. I know some people like it, but no. They are not my babies. They are family, without a doubt. They are not my babies. And that could just be a pet peeve of mine. Yep. No, get out of there. That's not water for you. That's not water for you, buddy. And you know how it is with having a cat. This is what they do. You start working on something and they come along and they stop you from doing that. And get hair on everything. Really? Come on. Go on. Let's go then. Freckles is the big boy and Ebony is the one who lost his tail. We don't know how. We when we rescued him, he already had like his tail bandaged up, and they said that it looked like it had 3 lacerations in it, and that possibly somebody attacked him with a weed whacker. We don't know, but yeah, he doesn't seem to miss it much. Was that on camera, Nick? Was he licking his nethers in the? I'm sure YouTube will throw me off for that, or this will get suppressed or banned or whatever they do. I mean, they're not as bad as Facebook, but they're getting there. You know, that's all there is to it, really. You can make them kind of simply. And just work them together. Give them some shading, some lighting. Anyone can do it. I mean, I'm not saying they're magnificent or anything. They're definitely not like the works of the old masters, as some would say. But I do enjoy doing them. They're quite relaxing to do. And instant landscapes. One of the things I forgot to mention about the Asian landscapes in the last video that I did, where I actually made the Asian landscape, is that the thing about the signing of them, the royalty of the era, they carried around little stamps. And generally it was, if you were an adult you had a black stamp, and if you were a child you had a red stamp, but you were royalty. And there was a lot of royalty in China back then, and the area, and people would go to the places where you could see the artworks, like museums, if you will, and they would go and they would look at the art, and if they liked it, they would pull out their little stamp and they would stamp the artwork. And now they have artworks which are barely visible because they have hundreds and hundreds of stamps on them. And they had to be, locked away behind glass to stop people from doing it, because it continued all the way up until, like, I think it was like the 1950s, 1960s. They were still allowing people to do that. From, the 1500s all the way to then. It's ridiculous. I mean, talk about ruining artwork completely. Oh, the weather is fantastic. I'm loving it. I would love this weather to last for a very, very long time. Let's see if I can get some of that foggy look that I was trying to get the last time. Doesn't really work all that well with the water soluble graphite, because it doesn't blend the same way as the inks do. It just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't get soft enough, in my opinion. Like, it stays a little hard. So, definitely not like the Smoky Mountains here. Well, not here, but in the US is what I meant. I've thought about it, Pat Kelly. I've thought about stamping my paintings that way. What the heck was that? I'll be right back. I don't know what that was, but I think I think one of my cats just knocked something over, and I'll find it later. But a bit like putting a gold star on your homework, Pat Kelly. Yes, yes, it is. Maybe, maybe Laura. Maybe that's where they got the idea. Not earth shattering, but loud enough to grab my attention. I have no idea what it was, though. I'm sure I'll figure it out. It's probably a picture frame or something from the entertainment center, which they knock over all the time. None of them have glass in them anymore because cats. Brent Does Art says, Joseph, on the Asian landscape I started, I used tinted graphite, and it was a nice look. Only used red, blue, and green, though. Yeah, it definitely is. The if you can see on my channel or something, uh, you can see the long one that I did, the Wu Wei tribute one, um, has like a reddish pink fade from the top and a bluish fade coming up from the bottom. I think that's how it is, or reversed: blue from the top, red from the pinkish red from the bottom. And that's something they would do too, but they almost strictly worked in black and white. I don't know why. They they just never seemed to move on into color with that kind of landscape. Um, there are landscapes that they do that are in color, but then they look more just like regular paintings. They're not the same kind of ink like calligraphy type work. It's a definitely a completely different look and feel to how they're done. Hello, Hinata, if I said that right. Thank you for joining me, even though we're pretty much coming to a close here because I'm not going to do much more on this little thing here. I mean, I could, but, who really wants to? You got some water here, blah, blah, blah. Little, another little fishing boat. Maybe a little guy fishing. Let's silhouette him a little bit. Yeah, we could add a little bit to this. But, it's nothing I'm planning on keeping. The other the fishing boat in the other one I didn't have anybody on it fishing, so. Yeah. So, yeah. I think that's where I'm gonna end it. You know, press the buttons, do the things, come back after the video's over and leave a comment. Yeah, all that stuff helps out. Um, check out the Lachri Artists Group, which me and Nick help run. Um, good stuff there. Check it out on MeWe though. Everybody should be abandoning Facebook at this point. So yeah, the Facebook are doing. I'm not gonna rant like Lisa does, but they're ridiculous. Um, what else? The monthly challenges in the groups, the prompts that I make up. People should like them. People should do them. I think so far this month we've only got one submission so far. Um, so yeah, I did a poll in the Facebook group asking people if I should keep doing it, and over 100 people said yes, absolutely do it. I'll take part. Nobody ever takes part, but I try. Yes, Angel Del Mar. Yes, it's over, or it's coming to a close. Um, since the project was a run over from the week before, it didn't actually take all that long. I'm still not very good with the Inktense, so I didn't do anything super special. Um, if you would like to see it, where the heck did I put it? I moved it up here. That's what we finished. So, this one side dried so much lighter than this side. Same color, almost the same amount of water. I assume that's what I don't like about Inktense, is that they're hard to keep consistent, in my opinion. But they work and they do the trick. They make things pretty. So, yeah. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time. Yeah. What's NFT? NFT are stupid digital beanie babies. That's what they are. They are digital beanie babies. The mere fact that some people will pay millions of dollars for something they really have no ownership of at all. They say they do, but they don't at all. It's weird. It definitely is a buzzword, and Angel Del Mar. But yeah, I'm just babbling at this point, so we might as well actually close this up. I thank you again for joining me, and I will be back next Monday at 3. I just put up a short that actually got some views, which was interesting. It's one of my older paintings, but it actually got a slight hit and went up to like 400 something views. But it's a minute long, and people watch about half of it, so you don't get as that many minutes or watch time. You don't get much watch time from it. So I have another one coming out Wednesday, and that's the dahlia flower I did. What was it? 2 years ago now, I think. So yeah, thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.